Any other question, mashallah? Yes, brother.
Brother, what is the ruling on using of condoms as the zygote is not firm?
As the
Zygote is not firm.
brother has a question, what is the ruling of using a condom since the zygote is not firm? Why you want to use a condom is required? Basic question. Why do you want to use a condom is the first question, then I can say whether it's allowed or not allowed. Normally. So like that there are certain things, for example sugar normally is allowed, but if you're having diabetes, haram for you. If you have too much, you'll kill yourself, it's suicide. Limited fine. So as the Quran says that eat what is good for you. So if you're having diabetes, sugar is not good for you. Otherwise sugar is good. The same way, why do you want to use is very important. Now this question would mainly go in family planning. Your question, if you understand the answer of family planning, which I've given in detail in many of my talks, the answer is very long. That as far as family planning is concerned, that can a person do family planning? The word family planning is a very big terminology. And all the scholars, all the fuqahas agree that the Quran clearly says in Surah Anam chapter 6 verse number 151 and Surah Isra chapter 17 verse 31 that kill not your children for want of sustenance. For it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who will give sustenance to you and your children. So based on this verse of the Quran, everyone agrees that abortion is haram. And the Quran says in Surah Rum chapter number 30 verse number 30 that do not change the physiology of your body. So it is unanimously agreed amongst all the scholars that abortion is haram. Any permanent method of family planning, vasectomy, tubectomy is haram, unless there is a need. For example, if the life of the mother is in danger, where the doctor says that she has had multiple cesarean sections, she has had 4 or 5 cesarean sections, and one more cesarean section would be detrimental to her life, she may lose her life, then as a last resort, tubectomy can be done, abortion can be done. Similarly, the doctor says that she has a heart problem and she cannot take the strain of a delivery. And if she gives birth to a child, she may die. Under this condition, even the permanent method is permitted, even abortion is permitted, because the Sharia says, let a small loss take place to prevent a big loss. Now here the big loss is the life of the mother, the small loss is the child. So Islamic Sharia says, let a small loss take place to prevent a big loss. So in this there is no two doubts about it. As far as temporary methods are concerned, there is difference of opinion. And the most common temporary method used is the copper T. Now when a person uses a copper T, basically, what happens? That the sperm and the ovum is already united and the zygote is formed. It is not contraception, it is contra-implantation. The zygote is prevented to cling on the uterine wall. So when we learned in a medical college, it was called as a contraception. The right word is contra-implantation, because conception has already taken place. So it's not a contraception, it's a contra-implantation. That means, if you think a bit ahead, it is nothing but very early abortion, which again is haram as per the verse of the Quran. As far as oral pill is concerned, again, it changes physiology, so that also most of the scholars agree it is wrong. The difference of opinion may come in condom, or it may come in diaphragm. At the time of the Prophet, the people who used to practice coitus interruptus. And when the people used to practice coitus interruptus, and when a Sahaba told the Prophet, he was silent. Now based on this hadith, some of the scholars say, because the Prophet was silent, that means he gave permission. Other group of scholars say, because silent, he didn't give permission. Anyway, no one says that coitus interruptus is prohibited. Recently, in the Times of India, there was an article that if coitus interruptus is done properly, that is breaking the act of the sexual intercourse, before the ejaculation comes out, if you stop and let the ejaculation go out of the body rather than into the body of the wife, it's called as coitus interruptus. The research says the difference between the failure rate of a condom is 18% and failure rate of coitus interruptus is 17%. What are the reasons you want to do coitus interruptus or a thing? It is not considering of AIDS. AIDS is not a different concept. We'll come to it later on. As far as family planning is concerned, to prevent a conception. The failure rate, what we realize, why the failure rate in a condom is about 18%. Why? There may be a leak in the condom, but not that 18% of the condom are leakage. No. The leakage may be 1%, 2%, I haven't done a survey, but it is very little. But maybe the condom is not put properly, or maybe that when the condom is worn, but it remains in the body of the wife and then the whole thing is useless. So various things can take place, so the failure rate goes to 18%. In coitus interruptus, if done properly, the failure rate is 17%. So if coitus interruptus is done, taking the safe periods into consideration, that immediately after the menstrual cycle, the first few days are safe, and immediately after the cycle starts, 13, 14, 15 days, there's a date into conception, the more chances. I mean, you can give a medical lecture on this also. Time doesn't permit me. I don't know where to go more in detail. Every question again, brief half an hour. So based on this, why you want to do is important. But the research is changed. Some research say, no, we don't agree with it. So they are researches. Fine? So as far as coitus interruptus is concerned, no scholar says it's haram. But as far as condom is concerned, there are scholars who differ. Coming back to basic question, why do you want to do family planning? If you are wearing a condom to prevent sexually transmitted diseases, that is only something haram. That only comes when you do with those who are not life partners, right? If you keep on changing partners, then you may require that to prevent AIDS, prevent STD. I'm sure your question is not based on that. It's not based on that, right? It's with the wife only, no? So then fine. So here the question of wearing a condom for sexually transmitted disease doesn't arise here in your question. But in that question, sexually transmitted diseases will come in coitus interruptus if there is a problem, if the woman has multiple sexual partners. So therefore there is a statement that, that to prevent AIDS, condomize yourself, which is haram. I mean, haram means you don't have only this illicit sex. So to say that don't do adultery to prevent AIDS, they say condomize yourself to prevent AIDS. Anyway, that's another question.